Saturday, and I'm impressed you're all here. It is so pretty outside. Aren't we glad that it's winter's done? Yes. Yay! Okay, so everybody doing all right?
Yes.
More than all right? Come on. I'm just kidding. All right, so I got a couple things planned. What we're going to do first is we're going to follow our outline and talk about retirement saving vehicles, and then I have a game that we're going to do toward the end. It's kind of a review game, and I'll explain more about that later. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to talk about retirement saving vehicles. Before I do that, I just want to make something really clear. I've been coming in and talking to you about different personal finance topics. I represent GreenPath Debt Solutions. We are a nonprofit consumer credit counseling agency and a HUD-approved housing counseling agency. We do not sell investments. We do not give advice on investments. I can tell you in general about investments, but I certainly am no expert in this field. Okay? Good deal? All right. That being said, I want to talk about what retirement saving vehicles are. All right. Well, in our sense, the vehicles are going to represent different products or programs that a person can participate in to help them with their retirement savings. More specifically, we're going to take a look at pensions, 401ks, and 403bs. Anybody ever heard of those before? 401ks? All right. So, but the majority have not. And then we're also going to talk about something called an IRA, both traditional and something called Roth. All right. The idea here is, though, all of these plans are going to help you to save for retirement. Okay. So, by the way, what's retirement?
When you stop working and you feed into like a pool of money, and then that money gets fed back to you once you retire.
Okay.
You're not getting. I forgot what I was gonna say.
Okay, so you stop working, and hopefully you're gonna have some money from some pool of money, right? Is that what you're, okay.
Don't you get like the money like every month, like a certain amount from your retirement?
Okay, all right. Anybody else? You guys touched on some pretty key points to retirement. We'll start with you. First, a retirement is to withdraw from one's position or occupation or from active working life. Okay, so you stopped working for pay. Okay, then you kind of talked a little bit about this. So you can this can be achieved when you have some sources of income, right, that do not have to be earned by working. So you're getting paid from somewhere, somehow. In other words, you're able to still support yourself without being paid from a job. Is that a fair way to sum up retirement? Cool. Okay. Wonderful. So, but I mean, what's that? Where are you going to get money? Who's going to pay you for breathing, really? You know, because if you're not working, we've learned that how much we make and we get paid to do certain tasks and jobs and careers, right? So who is going to pay you just by virtue of you breathing?
Yourself.
Yourself. Okay. All right. What do you mean by that?
Because when you were younger, you were contributing into a fund that would be paid back to you when you became older.
Okay, did everyone hear that? He said that you're paying yourself back because when you're younger, you pay into a plan that will pay you back when you're a little older. You're my finance guy, right? Yeah, okay. Anybody else have something to say about that? Okay, you know what? You're right. So the idea is in the past, retirement and money. So they used to talk, finance people used to talk about something called the three-legged stool. and that you needed all three of these aspects to make a steady retirement. Remember, the idea is you still need money to live in retirement, right? So how are you going to get that money? So this three-legged stool had to do with Social Security, pensions, and personal savings. So we're going to take a minute and look at all three of those legs and then what that might look like in the future. Starting with Social Security. The adults in the room are like, oh. But we're going to go there anyway. Hey guys, what's Social Security? Everyone has one.
Your right to be an American citizen.
Right to be an American citizen. Anyone else want to give it a shot? Social Security? You work and pay into it?
Money that you get like every month after you turn 65.
Okay, money that you might get every year. Okay, after you turn 65. A lot of ideas of what Social Security is.
It's like your life.
It's your life?
Yeah, it's like it like holds you as an American citizen. Like, do they have Social Security in different countries?
Yes, but it may not look like ours. All right, let's define it. Let's define it. Social Security is any government system that provides monetary assistance, money, to people with an inadequate or no income. Anybody ever heard of a commercial for Social Security disability benefits? Someone becomes disabled on a job, and we have a government system that helps support them because they're no longer able to work. So, yeah.
Then why do you need like your social security number like when you're going into a job?
Oh, you are awesome. Yes. Okay. Because we are going to talk about that. Because we're going to talk about how Social Security is funded. So let's keep this in mind. So Social Security is a government system. It's a system that helps support people who don't have income or who are unable to support themselves. That's what Social Security is. You with me? So the deal is, it is also a federal insurance program that provides benefits to, here's what we're going to talk about, retired people and those who are unemployed or disabled. All right, so it's a government system. It's a federal program that helps support people who are either retired or disabled, right? Where's that money going to come from? Where's the government going to get it?
Taxes.
Taxes, people. What else did I hear? Anybody want to be more specific on taxes and people? So I heard it, FICA. Okay, what is FICA, guys? Well, when you start working and you get that first paycheck, remember when we were looking at that pay stub and you're like, oh, this is great, but how come so much money is going out? What's this FICA thing, right? Well, the FICA thing stands for the Federal Insurance Contribution Act, and that every time you get a paycheck, a certain amount is pulled from the paycheck to go into what? To go into that pool of money that's going to what?
Provide Social Security benefits for people who
are unemployed or disabled or retired. Did y'all hear that? It's going into this pool that the government manages to then give to people who make a low or no income. Okay. You guys are awesome. You know what? Remember when you all called me out and said, well, where does all that tax money go? Whether it's income tax, whether it's FICA, whatever. And I threw this chart up here the next time. Remember that about 20% of your taxes is going, your federal taxes is going to go into this pool of money. So it's a substantial amount of money that we are paying to support people who are retired or disabled or unable to work. Okay, so Social Security, remember that's what we're talking about. That is only one leg of the stool. By the way, and it will probably change by the time that you are going to retire, but right now, what do you think how much a person should expect Social Security to cover when they retire? Would it be 75 to 100% of their expenses? Would it be 50 to 75% of their expenses in maintaining their lifestyle? 25 to 40? 0 to 25? Or is Social Security expected to cover none of your expenses? What do you think? You're saying C, which is 25 to, what do you think? D, okay, 0, about just a little bit, about a quarter, right? E, none of it? What do you think? E, none of it. All right, let's go through 75 to 100%. A, how many of you think that Social Security is meant to or will cover all of your expenses in retirement? Nobody. It's interesting, though, because a lot of folks have not put money aside in that three-legged stool, and they are living on only what Social Security did. But you guys are smarter than that, and you will, and you've got a good foundation based on this last year of knowledge. So I'm excited about that. What about B? How many of you think it's 50 to 75% of your living expenses? Okay. Just a few. What about 25 to 40%? Okay, substantially more. And then 0 to 25%? Okay, that's about the same as B. And E, none. And that's about the same. All right, so y'all are doing the most of you thought this, but then the others were pretty evenly distributed, and the correct answer is C, about 37%. Okay. If Social Security, the thing that you have been paying for your entire working life through FICA, if Social Security is only meant to or is only currently covering 37% of your living expenses, where is the other going to come from? How are you going to support yourself? Yeah. So let's go back to this three-legged stool, right? We've talked about Social Security. Let's go ahead and we're going to talk now about pensions. Anybody know what a pension is? Yeah.
Money you probably accumulated from a job that, or let's say you started a job, you set up a plan, and you stayed with this job as a loyal worker, and you've built up money over a lot of years. So it's basically money especially dedicated to your retirement. Money
especially dedicated to retirement as a result of your working?
Yes, and it's distributed in small amounts when you retire.
Who paid for it? Who put the money in?
You put the money in, but your employer can also contribute to that.
Okay. He said you put the money in, the individual, but your employer can contribute. What do you think?
Is a pension like taken out of your paycheck in small amounts? Like put into a pension fund or something?
Okay, so again, that means you're paying for it because it's taken out of your paycheck and goes into an account that's going to hopefully grow money, right? Any other ideas on what a pension is? Money that you're saving. Where's the money coming from? Your work. Who's paying for it? You or your employer or the government? Both. Okay, let's go for it. Let's talk about this pension. A pension is when an employer makes contributions toward a pool of funds. Someone talked about a pool of funds earlier, set aside for an employee's future benefit. The pool of funds is then invested on the employee's behalf, allowing the employee to receive benefits upon retirement. So, simply by the virtue of you working somewhere, your employer puts money into an account And what kind of account, you might say? There are so many different things they can do. They can go, and I'm just going to mention a couple of things here to kind of jar your memory. I don't expect you to remember all this, but a pension plan, if an employer is contributing to, for example, an annuity on your behalf. Remember what annuities are. That is a growth fund that is administered by an insurance company. All right. They may be contributing to mutual funds on your behalf. And remember, mutual funds can look all different kinds of ways. It can have individual stocks. Okay. It may be investing right back into the company, so it's called profit sharing. That's a good question. Okay. Pensions traditionally have been 100% employer funded. In the past, you're a company person. Your company would take care of you in retirement. They would put money aside. After you had worked X number of years, they would contribute more and more and more so that you could retire comfortably. Examples of pensions might be railroads used to have excellent pensions. Government employees had decent, so it's entirely funded. But you can imagine, and most large companies used to do this as well, but you can imagine that the cost to fund a pension is pretty steep now. So something new has come about in the last 30 years. All of a sudden, this burden of retirement that, by the way, used to be taken care of primarily Social Security and your pension that your employer took care of, the weight is now more on the individual and has been for a number of years now, where the individual is planning that three-legged stool, if you will.
So you're saying a lot of this three-legged stool was basically pre-prepared for you, and you kind of just like, you mainly worked, and they took responsibility for it.
Yeah, two of them were, the pension and the retirement. But out of the employers looking for new ways and ways to keep costs down and be competitive in the marketplace, one of the things they looked at were those pensions. And there was a new product or vehicle developed out there, and that was those 401k, 403b type plans, which is sort of a hybrid of a pension your employer paying and your personal savings. So let's go into that for a second. 401k is a retirement saving plan. It is sponsored by an employer. And it lets workers save and invest a piece of their paycheck before taxes. Taxes aren't paid until the money is withdrawn from that 401k. So it's employee sponsored. Wait, that's confusing. But I pay. How does that work? Well, let's take a look. So you're paid a salary, right? Out of your salary, you have taxes taken out. Federal income taxes, you have FICA, you might have state taxes taken out. And then you get your salary after tax. And this is what you can spend, right? So from your salary, though, if you contribute to a 401k, or by the way, there's another vehicle called a 403b, and that's available usually to like schools, nonprofits, hospitals that are nonprofit. But it's the same kind of deal, okay? It's just a different vehicle. So your 401k account, your employer may or may not help contribute to this 401k plan. Anyone heard of matching accounts? Okay. Do you know what that means?
You put in a certain amount and your employer matches the amount you put in.
Yeah, and there are different restrictions. So, and this is completely voluntary on the employer's part. What would happen is the employer would say, if you put in 5% of your income before taxes, if you put in we as an employer will perhaps match it at 5%, or they might say, we'll match it up to so much, or we will match half of it. So they would put in 2.5%. So that would be replacing that old pension that your employer would have set up for you. They may contribute to this account. And then what happens with these 401ks and 403bs, you start building this pool of money, and it goes to this pool of money goes to a plan administrator, and this administrator then decides how this is distributed. And many times you get to pick which plan you want to contribute to. Now, these plans could be company stock, bonds, mutual funds, stock, money market accounts, all or none or a mixture thereof. Do you guys remember what these things are? We talked about it. Real high level. What's company stock?
Stock in a company.
Okay, what does that mean?
It's like a percentage of the company that you can buy, and then you have an investment inside the company.
And then what happens?
You get paid from it.
How?
I forgot how.
Dividends. Yes. So company stock is when you buy sort of a piece of a company, right? And if the company does well, you might be paid a dividend, which is based on how well their profits are. You may lose value if that company doesn't do well. So we know that sometimes this company stock can be a big return, but with that big return comes more what? Risk. Is that what you were going to say? Absolutely. So it's higher risk, but larger return. What about bonds? Do you guys remember what a bond is? Yeah.
The investor loans out money to someone.
When you're loaning money to someone? Yes. Anyone want to expound on that? Yeah.
You can buy a bond from the government, because when they issue it out, it's like you're lending the government money, but then they'll pay it back to you.
You're awesome. Absolutely. So you are making your funds available to, it might be a municipal, it might be a city bond, it might be a federal bond, but you are lending money, and you are going to get it back plus some interest. How risky are bonds usually? Take out the city of Detroit, okay? How risky are they?
Not very risky.
Not very risky. How much of a return are you going to get on a bond? Yeah, not very much. But you still will get it's better than just stuffing it in your mattress, right? Absolutely. And by the way, there are reasons that you would want to get bonds to balance out your portfolio to, again, reduce your risk. All right. Mutual funds. Do you guys remember what a mutual fund is? Yeah?
It's
What?
like when you send it to somebody, or I don't know if you do it yourself, but you send it to somebody, and they basically invest your money into lots of different investments to increase your gain. So it could be hundreds of different stocks, hundreds of different bonds, but it's all coming in one fund.
Okay, all right. So there's this fund, this thing called a mutual fund, right? And you give money to this mutual fund, and this mutual fund is usually managed by someone else. And in this mutual fund, they may have some Apple stock, they may have some utility stock, they may have large cap, small, and all that means is a large company, small companies, mid-sized companies. So this fund your money is kind of spread out again to help you manage risk a little bit, right? How risky is a mutual fund?
I'd say in between.
What do you think?
Well, because it's diversified, it would be lesser risk than a stock, but it'd be more risk than a bond.
Perfect, absolutely. It's going to be less risk than just one stock, because it is diversified. Your eggs aren't all in one basket, to use that old term, right? And it's going to hopefully pay a larger return than a bond would. All right. We talked about stocks. By the way, the difference between these company stock in this scenario would be your own company. So a lot of times part of your benefit would be that you would get stock in your own company. So I should have said that. Stocks would be in other companies. What about money market accounts? Do you guys remember what that is? That was an interesting one. Yeah.
Is it like a kind of financial institution?
No, but they're offered by financial institution. What else? Money market account. Well, okay, let's break it down. We know that it's some kind of an account, right? All right. It is a type of account that you can put your money in. It earns a little bit more than a savings account. Again, you're allowing that financial institution to use your money for other things, maybe loaning it for your mortgage or your car, right? So the money market is designed to be kind of an in-between. So it's not as risky as a mutual fund, but it is a nice place. It will earn more than a regular straight-up savings account. Okay. That was pretty good, you guys. You got most of those. All right, so that's how the 401k. Now, keep in mind, this is not required. And by the way, neither is this. You are not required. You are not required to have a 401k. It's in your best interest to have something for retirement, but you're not required to. It's not a forced thing. Unlike when you have a paycheck, you are forced to pay FICA, aren't you? You are forced to pay into that Social Security. Okay. So that's pensions. So pensions, employer-sponsored or set up. Back in the day, it was your employer put money away for you and they managed it. Now, and there are still about 30% of employers do that still. They're usually like government employers. I'm trying to think if, well, okay. And then there is, now there's kind of that hybrid, that 401k, 403b thing, right? Where they may contribute, they help you set it up, they may have funds that you can invest in. Let's talk about personal savings as that third leg on that old school stool. What would personal savings be? Can you guys think?
Like just a savings account and however much money you put into it.
Savings account? Yes.
Well, like personal savings, I'm not talking about like accounts or anything, but like if you get like a gift card or something, it's like savings and stuff.
Gift cards? Sure, okay.
Money totally separate from everything else that you personally decide to set aside for the future.
Okay. All right. That you set up all on your own.
Entirely managed by you.
Entirely managed by you. Yes. Oh, right. Okay. Keep that thought. Did you guys hear what she said? There are accounts that you can pull out only after a certain amount of time or when you get a certain age, I think is where you're going with that. How about, what do you think? Personal savings? Okay. Kind of all of the above. Personal savings may be a savings account. It may be a stock you have bought on your own, an investment you have made on your own. Maybe you're investing in your own mutual fund, right? It's not under the 401k umbrella. Maybe you have a coin collection that you plan on selling, or a piece of art, some kind of asset, your home. Maybe you're going to plan to sell your home and then move somewhere less expensive and use that money towards your retirement. The other thing that would now fall under this personal savings is something called an IRA. All right. IRA is an account that's set up at a financial institution that allows a person to save for retirement with tax-free growth or on a tax-deferred basis. IRA. That's where you were coming from, I think. Okay, so you know, there are a couple of different kinds. There's rollovers, which we're not really going to talk about, but IRAs and Roth IRAs, let's talk about those because those are the ones that you're going to hear the most about. So the main difference between these types of accounts is their tax, when you pay your taxes. All right. With a Roth IRA, you invest after tax money. So you've already paid taxes on it. All right. So when you pull it out, you don't have to pay taxes on the principal amount anymore because you've already paid. You don't want to double tax, right? With a straight up IRA or a traditional IRA, that means you can defer the tax. That 401k, 403b, remember how I said that's kind of a hybrid? Well, you can set up your own IRA as well and put it through your employer, that 401k, 403b, and have money taken from your paycheck directly before taxes are taken out. Now, when you retire and you start drawing money from that IRA, you will be taxed on it. It will be taxed. So the whole difference between a Roth, well, there are a lot of others, but the main difference between a regular IRA or 401k, 403b, that kind of thing, and a Roth is funded after tax. So there's some tax advantages. By the way, guys, before I leave this completely, just understand that when you start thinking about retirement, there will be penalties. There are penalties for people who withdraw their money early before they retire or for purposes other than retirement. So it's not like you can use this tax deferred or account to fund a vacation. If you use that money for something other than retirement, with just a few exceptions, you will be penalized for pulling your own money out. Because why? Because you're using this retirement vehicle and you're putting your money into it. So if you're going to pull it out for anything other than retirement, there are some restrictions. Not only that, there is a certain time element that's involved on when you can pull it out without penalty, and there's also 70 and a half. You have to start pulling it out before then. What were you going to say?
How does a vacation not fall under retirement?
Well, that would have to do more with your age. So if you were paying into an IRA and you wanted to go on vacation when you were 30, borrowing money from that IRA, you're going to pay a substantial penalty for pulling it out for that vacation. On the other hand, if you were 64 and wanted to go on vacation, you can definitely start getting paid from your IRA without penalty.
Oh, okay.
Okay? Yeah.
So you know how you said that you had to start taking out your money from your account at a certain age? So what if you didn't take out your money at that age? What would happen to it? Would it just be gone?
Nope, it grows.
Oh.
But there's a cap on it. You have to start pulling out from these individual accounts by 70 and a half.
Oh.
So you have to start. So if you defer your retirement, you can start pulling out, in general, 59 and a half. So if you decide instead of that, I'm going to work till 65, it's going to keep growing at that point. Hopefully. Hopefully. Here's the rub, though. This, like I said, this is old school. The Social Security, pension, personal savings, especially for you guys. We don't know what that picture is going to look like. That's why it is so important for you guys to understand what it costs to be you. It is so important for you to understand that this is falling on you now. This is your responsibility to fund your own retirement. So saving Are you kidding me? Thinking about your future, setting those goals, all of those things that we've talked about all year. You guys are one step ahead of your peers, I'll guarantee. And basically, you know what? A lot of you are a step ahead of a lot of adults who are paying into these plans and don't even understand how they work. So that's a big kudos to you. So the idea is no matter what retirement you want to do, whatever you think retirement is or whatever your retirement is going to look like, that is something that as you get to be a full-time employee, I really encourage you to start early by putting money aside, because we talked about something called compounding. Do you guys remember what compounding is? Yeah.
When you have some money, this just means that you have some money, some money gets added to that as a percentage, and then more money gets added based on the new percentage of the money that just got added. So it's adding based on what just got added. It keeps growing.
Okay. Put another way, and you had it, you just were missing one word. Put another way, it's earning interest on the interest that you've earned.
Yeah.
So your money truly is working for you. And the beauty of compounding is for you guys, the earlier you start, the bigger that interest will grow. Because time is the key to compounding, all right? So that's kind of cool. Does anybody have any questions about what we've talked about today? I think you guys are awesome, by the way, just to let you know, because you really do have a lot of solid information. You have a lot of solid knowledge right now. So, to prove it, we are going to do a little review, okay? This is a thumb ball. Actually, you guys have been sitting too long. I want you all up, and let's make a circle right in here. You're like, okay, if I have to. Who are you going to be? You going to be this lady? What do you think? There you go.
I like the sun.
You like that one?
Hey, you should be there because the sun rose.
What about you guys? Who do you want to be? You want to be you? Yeah, that looks nice, doesn't it?
Or even this.
Yeah. Look at these guys. They're crazy. Going out there kayaking. Yay. Okay. What do you think? Where do you want to be? Top left. The golf or the boat?
The boat.
The boat. How about you? What do you want your retirement to look like?
See something that looks like a beach down there.
Yeah,
Or
with
the
those
hammock.
little,
Or the hammock, just
or the hammock, just putting your feet up, okay? How about you? What do you want your retirement to look like?
Nothing like that.
Okay, what does yours look like?
Much more advanced. Everything on the picture I would own, definitely.
Okay, cool. Even the yacht?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
You mean yachts. It just wouldn't fit on that page.
Okay, well, that's all good. Cool. How about you? What is your retirement going to look like, you think?
The boat.
The boat up there?
Yeah.
Yeah. And are you cruising or is that yours?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, it doesn't matter, just as long as you're there, right? How about you guys? Anybody else want to give it a go?
Bottom left.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. Where do you imagine that is? Hawaii. Okay. Tahiti. Bahamas. Okay. How about you? What do you want your retirement to look like?
All three of the bottom ones.
Okay. You know what? I kind of could have told you that even before. I'm just kidding. How about you? Did you tell me already?
Yeah.
The hammock. All right. All right, you know what? Keep those pictures in your mind as you get that first job. All right, and they ask you, they say, you know what? After a year, you can contribute to a retirement. Please don't blow that off and think you've got time to think about it. Do it right away, because it's a lot easier to do it before you're used to having that money. So take it out of sight, out of mind, and move forward. This is called a thumb ball. So the idea here is I'm going to toss this, and you're going to catch this ball, and wherever your thumb lands, there's a term. Now the deal is this. You can either tell me something about that term, or if you can't think of anything, I get to ask you a question, or somebody else does, about that term. You ready? Everybody understand? You're all alone, so you get it. Thumb, where is it?
5 cents.
5 cents. Tell me something about 5 cents.
After inflation, in many years, you only have 5 cents out of a dollar.
Stop. Okay, how about this one? How about this one? What's another name for 5 cents? What coin is
Oh, a nickel.
a nickel? Good. Okay, cool. Budget. Tell me something about a budget.
It's like what you have to like determine how much you have for food and clothing and like to spend and save.
Okay. Everybody hear that? Something you have for food and clothing. Anybody want to add to it? A limit? Okay, by the way, you didn't quite, yeah, I tell you what, since I had to ask a follow-up question, you don't get a payday. You came up with something without me asking, so you can go over there and either grab a payday or some cookies, okay? Awesome. We'll give you another chance.
Bankruptcy.
Okay.
That's probably when you can't pay, you know, what you need to pay, and then you get debts, and then if you have a business, it goes bankrupt. You run out of money, you can't pay for your, what you need to spend.
What do you guys think? Is that pretty, anyone want to add to it? Yeah.
It's called the government bailing you out.
Oh, stop. Okay. Anyone else want to add to bank? Yes.
It completely destroys your credit score, so you can't borrow anything for 7 years after.
Yeah, it takes a toll on your credit in your, yeah. Anybody else?
The government bailing out thing wouldn't happen to an individual, though. It'd only be like a corporation. So if a corporation gets bankrupt, then only will the government get involved. And if it's a big corporation, not like a small company, just be like Fannie Mae. That's what happened.
Okay. So I think you earned your payday, so I'll take that. Bankruptcy is a legal process designed to give a fresh start. So it is for folks who have no reasonable means to pay their debts. It is intended as a fresh start. There are definitely consequences to your credit. And when it comes to corporation, there is corporate bankruptcy, and we didn't really talk a lot about that in this class because it goes beyond personal bankruptcy. But yes, the government does get involved when it gets too big, such as GM, such as Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. Okay, so we'll move on. Should I keep going in order? I should let you guys throw this. How about you?
ATM debit card.
Okay, tell me something.
Okay, so an ATM is a machine where you can insert like it's not a debit card, but I forget its name. But you insert a card into it and you put your PIN in, and you get whatever amount of money you asked for. But there is a limit. I think it's like $400 is the max that you can get out of the ATM. And a debit card is like, it's kind of like a credit card, but not exactly, because there's a limit on how much you can. It's like linked to your savings, whereas a credit card isn't directly linked. So, I mean, like, you're really screwed if you lose your debit card because
Okay.
people can like take all of your money.
All right. You got the basic gist on it, okay? Not necessarily linked to your savings, usually linked to your checking account, because that's the account that you can put money in, take out, put it, okay. That card that you use at the ATM can be a debit card. It absolutely can, not too much separate now. You know, it used to be separate, but now it's pretty much the same card. And yes, there are usually limits on how much you can, well, it's like a supermarket, or like a cash machine is what it is. You put your card in there and it spits out cash. I think you earned yours. Go for it. Anybody have anything to add to the ATM or debit?
Well, debit takes out right over your bank, and then credit, it's You get a check in the mail later.
Yeah, you'd be billed for it, right? What is one advantage of using your ATM card? Or your debit card for a purchase. Let's do debit card. What is an advantage of using a debit card for a purchase?
Well, that means you don't have to pay it off later. Like you already have that money, so it's not like you end up in trouble where you can't pay it back later.
Okay, so why not just use cash then?
Because it's more portable, I guess. It's easier to carry around.
Easier and
Well, if you got robbed and they didn't find your debit card, then if you only had a debit card on you and you got robbed and you had your debit card somewhere where they couldn't find it, then you wouldn't lose all your money.
it's safer.
Yeah.
It's safer than cash. Yeah, absolutely.
Also, don't you always have to type in your PIN in a purchase?
Yeah, so it's a little harder for someone to be able to use it, right? Unlike cash, if they've got your money, they've got your money, and that's it, right? All right. Does anyone get a payday on that one?
I think everyone who gave input should get
Okay. Everyone that gave input just now can go get a payday. All right, let's go with you.
25 cents.
Okay, 25 cents. Tell me something about 25 cents.
It's a quarter.
It's a quarter. Anything else?
Also similar to what he said, if you save it over many years, it's the equivalent to $1.
Okay.
Or probably less than that.
How many quarters are in a dollar?
4.
There you go. That's math. Go ahead. All right. Let's see. Let's go with you. Credit. Tell me something about credit. Better be good. Remember, I'm a credit counselor. I'm just kidding.
It's like a credit. You can do a credit card.
Okay.
You need a good credit.
What
You need a good credit score, yeah.
you need a good credit score for what?
Just like for everything. Like, I don't know how to explain it.
Okay. It's all right. Go ahead.
If you have like a good credit score, like when you take out a bond, people like trust you, so like you can like pay it off faster. And so if you have a bad one, people like won't trust you, so they might not want to give you the bond.
Or the loan.
Yeah.
Can we call it a loan? So when you have poor credit, it's harder for you to get people to loan you money, and it probably costs you more, right? That's good. That's a good thing. We're going to hold on your explanation there. You earned a payday. You can go ahead for the payday as well.
25 cents.
Let's do another one. How about, hopefully it didn't go there.
Entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about that.
Do you know what it means? Okay. Who knows what it means? Let's go.
They're the people that like put money into starting a business, or they take a big risk and go there.
Starting a business, absolutely. Anybody else? Yeah.
Anyone who is willing to take an idea, make profit from it, basically manage savings and everything, manage a whole system of bringing in money and stuff. An entrepreneur is just a risk taker and someone who wants to turn an idea into profit.
Okay, I think you both got it. Absolutely. What are you going to add?
Isn't it like when someone starts a business, like their own business?
Yeah, that's it pretty much. It's starting your own business. It's being a business owner. All three of you, go. Who haven't I gotten? Goals. We talked about goals for a while, didn't we?
Setting goals like retirement or going to college. Say you plan to go to a really expensive college that charges $100,000 per year. That's your goal, to save up to get enough money.
Okay, cool. Anybody want to add? Are goals important?
If you write down your goals, you're more likely to achieve them.
Yeah, because it gets lost. You kind of lose I think the biggest thing about goals is that it helps you focus. We talked a lot about that too, didn't we? Yeah.
Also the SMART goals thing, where it has to be like, I
Yeah, SMART goals. Woo-hoo-hoo. What is SMART goals? What do you remember what they stand for?
Number one is like attainable.
Okay.
I remember.
Okay.
One was there has to be like a time limit.
Okay.
Um,
Okay, let's think of SMART. It's a mnemonic, right? So what's the S stand for? Do you guys remember? Hmm. Okay, I'll give you that one. Specific, right? M, good. A, yeah, everyone had that one. R, yeah, reasonable, realistic, that kind of thing, right? And then T, time. You have to put a time on it. Oh my gosh, that was one. Who told me about this? Who did you bring up SMART goals? You go ahead, get another one. And then who contributed that time? Go for it. Who hasn't gotten a chance? Here we go.
Identity theft.
Identity theft. What can you say about identity theft?
Well, like someone can get your you want to like shred all of your like documents with your social security number on them. Just if someone gets your social security number, they can like steal your identity and open a bunch of credit cards and just yeah.
Right. You know what? What else? Tell me some more stuff about identity theft. Yeah.
Well, it's not even them having your social security number. It's like them having information about you, like your address and your name, because like what she said, you have to shred like all of the documents from your bank, like with your bank statements and stuff. Because and then also I learned this in econ, but you shouldn't put all of your shredded documents in the same place because it's legal to go through someone's trash once it's outside. So you should like split it up, and then if it's like really important, and put them or like take it to different places.
Okay. Anybody have anything else to add about identity theft? Yeah.
Seeing that they have your identity, they can log into anything. Once they have your identity, certain programs nowadays will give you access to just email addresses, social stuff. Not only will they have connections to you, they can link it to your contacts. It's beyond dangerous. Identity theft is just, they basically stole you.
Okay.
What the world knows you as, like your number.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
They can also like waste all your money in your checking account and your credit cards and all that.
Okay. So let me ask you this. If you've been a victim of identity theft, can they clean out your entire savings?
Yes. I think so.
Okay. Anyone want to?
They probably can't take your retirement stuff.
Okay. What were you going to say?
It would be hard to clear out all of your savings, but if you don't keep track of like your bank statements or like your credit card statements, then it wouldn't be that difficult over a span of like the duration matters. So if you're like keeping up with how much is in your account or your like checking account, then you would probably catch it like right away.
Okay, that's a very good point. That it is important to be aware of what's going on with your accounts. We talked about, yeah.
Yes, I also think that if you keep track of your bank statements, also if there's like a huge withdrawal that's not really normal to your statements, also I think your bank can contact you to confirm that it was you that made that drastic change in your history.
Yes, and not only that, most of the time your banks are not, they will flag it if there's a large withdrawal and they won't let it go through without talking to you. And like for credit cards and stuff, even if you're a victim of ID theft and someone has used your credit cards to make multiple purchases, usually you're only liable for the first $50. And even at that, if it's a financial institution, a lot of times they'll waive that $50. But certain things have to be in place. For example, you can't, you actually have to file a police report because identity theft is a crime. And why do you think it's so important that that's the number one thing that is required in order to start this whole process of Oh, yeah.
So that they don't keep stealing other people's identities as well.
One good reason. What's another?
So that should we catch them faster.
Catch them faster. Awesome.
That they don't have your information.
Okay.
So they can lock up your information.
So they can lock up. Okay.
What is the question?
Yeah, the question is, why is it so important to make a police report if you're claiming that someone is using your credit card or your bank account due to identity theft?
It's good to bring attention to them, because if they're just going around unknown and no one knows about it, that just makes it even worse.
Okay.
Bring attention.
Because then if you don't tell someone and like they'll keep going, you'll have to pay everything and you'll end up bankrupt.
Okay. They may just keep going if you don't tell anyone, if you just don't say anything. Anybody else want to? What does fraud mean? Okay. The deal is this. One of because what would stop me and him say, hey, you know what, here's my account. You go ahead and clean it out, and I'll just say that you stole my identity. Right? So what's to stop that from, and then we'll go party, right? So the idea with the making that police report is that you are turning in whoever stole, whether you know them or not, that you're turning them in saying, this was a crime. I did not give permission. I do not know about this. Okay, that's an important point. So even if it is your older brother, even if it is your parents, and they use your account, or your aunt, or your uncle, if they use your account without your knowledge and kind of clean it out without your knowledge, that's a form of ID theft. Now, it's up to you on how you handle that, but if you don't want to be held responsible for those charges that were made or the complete withdrawal, then you need to turn whoever that is in. You need to make that police report. All right, what other ways, and I'm thinking about 2014, what other ways should you protect your identity? What other ways do you need to think about protecting your identity?
Instead of not writing down your passwords, or if you have vital information, you really should just invest in something physical that
Okay.
will keep your information safe.
Okay.
Don't have your social security number in the back in your phone case.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
You should memorize it.
Memorize social security number so you don't have to, right.
Like watch out for phishing scams and online stuff.
Awesome, phishing scam, absolutely, online stuff. When you go to a website and you're going to pay money, what do you want to look for in the URL?
Or those
HTTP,
Oh,
yes, secure, yep.
Those like security questions, like you have to like write the answer for, and like to go on the card, you have to like answer one of those questions. Or
Yeah,
something.
don't blow that off. When you're opening an account, you know how they say, okay, choose your questions or whatever. Make sure it's good questions. What's your parental father's, grandfather's name or whatever? You know, what's your first dog? What was your first pet's name? That kind of stuff. That's there to protect you. And then let's talk about passwords. Make your passwords strong. Please don't make a password that says, let me in 123. Okay? Or May 2014. You know what I mean? That's the first thing folks are going for. So make it a good one. We talked a little bit about passwords, didn't we? And what they say now is using a phrase. In other words, I took the Financing Your Future class in 2014. So you would use the first letter of that sentence, that phrase, as your password. Who would ever think to do that? Especially if you have crazy phrases you want to use. And then changing those passwords. Who hasn't caught this yet? Everybody caught it? There you go.
bankruptcy.
Oh, again, you know what, just toss it up in the air and catch it.
Got this thing. Money matters.
Oh yeah, that's an advertisement.
Save, spend, share.
Oh, what does that mean?
So like you save your money and then spend it wisely and then like share it in like for charities, for, like donations and all that.
Okay, and if you, and that's absolutely correct. If you want, you can think of budgeting as that, okay, this is what I'm going to spend, this is what I'm going to save, and this is what I'm going to give. So it's a type of allocation of your money. Good job, payday for you. All right, we're going to go 5 more minutes, and this time you guys get to throw it around. And she's going to play. And do you want to play?
Sure.
Go, okay, come on. Okay, we're going to get these two going, and then you guys can throw it to whoever you want. And it's their turn, okay? Ready?
Oh, we're playing a game?
You're playing the game. You got to you kind of got the gist of it now, right? Yep. And so it's up to these guys. If you keep getting, whatever. Okay. Here you go.
ATM debit card. Right, am I supposed to
Yeah, you can tell me something else about an ATM debit card if you want.
Oh, a credit union. Wow.
Stop.
I actually have an account at a credit union.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So what's a credit union?
A credit union is basically like a bank, but credit unions are built around their customers. So they have members, and they have special cards. Like you have the banks that are like publicized. The credit unions personalize their stuff for their members.
Okay.
Like the credit card I just did my report on, they made a special MasterCard just for their members, and it had like extra benefits for members.
Okay.
Member-oriented banking.
There you go. It's member-oriented. It's also nonprofit. Most of them are nonprofit versus a bank, which is a for-profit institution. Good job. Throw it. Anybody? There you go. I knew you'd get in it.
Credit. Okay. The best way to describe credit is it's like kind of like a loan. It's not money. It's not money that you have, but it's basically money that or a strategy used for purchases when you don't have cash. So you can use credit to purchase things when you don't have the cash.
That's exactly what I would have said. If I had gotten it, I probably would have said buying something now and paying for it later.
That's the best way to do it.
Yeah, go ahead. Go. Anywhere.
Pants. Okay.
Oh!
A risk.
Okay.
So like one thing with risk is like the higher the risk, the more return. So like the more risk you take, the more money you'll get.
Like with investments. What else happens with risk though? Not only can you make more, but you can lose more. That's the whole point. Okay, go ahead. Throw. Ah!
One of those. Pay yourself first. Like I would say, I don't know how to say it, but
Okay.
like put yourself first instead of like others, and like pay your needs, like what you need, and not like what you don't need and stuff like that.
Okay. Anybody want to add to pay yourself first? Yeah.
Save money for yourself and then spend it wisely, but not all of it.
Okay.
For expenses.
Sure. Yeah.
When you're saving it, instead of like what a lot of people do is that they spend it first and then with the leftover money they put it into savings. But what you want to do is like you want to put you want to save the money first and then spend the rest of it.
And decide how you're going to do it, whether it's for rent or what you're going to. Perfect. Paying yourself first just simply means treating savings as an expense to yourself, and it's a high priority bill. So you would pay your savings just like you would pay another bill, but you're going to pay it first. So that's good. Go ahead, throw.
Save, spend, share?
Oh, we just did that one. Okay.
Pay yourself first.
Okay. Go again.
$20.
Okay. Anything you want to say about $20?
Pens.
Okay, that's cool.
Start saving with $20.
I like that. Absolutely. It's better to start. It's better to start even if it's a small amount now than putting it off until you have a large sum of money. It's very difficult to save a large sum because we don't get that large sum. So putting $20 aside is
Start savings account with $20.
absolutely. Okay, you get to throw it to whoever.
Income, expense.
Income and expense, okay?
purchase something that is your expense.
Okay.
It's like when you take away from your income
So
to buy something.
to buy something. Okay.
Should I expand?
I'm trying to think if I should ask a follow-up question. Does anyone want to add to income and expense?
Expenses are like your needs, how much you should spend, grocery, gas, mortgage payments.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
You have to make sure your expenses are less than your income.
Okay.
Income is like money coming in to your life, and expenses is money going out of your life.
Good. That's a good one. Someone else was going to say. Oh, okay. And I think I said the goal of a budget is to balance income and expenses, and I called it obligations because we want to pay ourselves first. So in that expenses, we're going to have our savings plans or whatever we're going to do. But because you don't want to have extra money that you don't have a plan for. So that's why you want to balance it out. Good. Go ahead.
You gotta pay yourself first.
Okay.
Budget.
Okay. I just gave it away, but go ahead.
Yeah, budget is like basically just managing your income and your expenses and making sure you don't go over your expenses.
Gosh, that was good. That was really good. And just in case you didn't hear, say it a little louder.
It's basically managing your income and expenses and making sure your expenses don't go over the amount of income you're getting.
That's really great. Go ahead. You get to choose. Oh.
$50. Do I just stay up in there again?
Anything you want to say about $50?
You can buy a good Lego set with $50.
Cool. Go ahead. Throw it.
Again, okay.
You knew you were going to be a target.
Right. Mortgage, okay? Mortgage is basically a loan for a house or a home that you, yeah. Should I expand?
You're good.
Okay.
Now, even if we've already had it, we're going to do a fast round. So even if we've already had like a quarter or $50 or whatever, the idea is whatever comes into your mind about that topic, say it and then throw it, okay? So we're not going to expand. We're just going to see how fast we can do this, okay? And we're going to do it for about a minute.
Okay.
A minute.
Cool.
And go.
So you guys gotta think fast, okay?
$5. I don't know, like 2 of them make $10.
Fine, throw it.
Pay yourself first. So yeah, save and then spend whatever remaining you have.
1 cent. Even if you save 1 cent, over time will add on and it'll be
Go ahead, throw, good.
ATM, debit card, you can get money out of it.
Good. Whoa!
credit. It's like you. It's a credit card, but you pay your bill after. You pay.
Mhm.
Interest is like it deals with credit cards and loans. So if you if you don't pay, you get accumulated interest, or like it could be 0 interest APR or 1.5 something like that.
Okay, cool. Oh, somebody go get it. Fast, fast, fast. Just throw it up.
$20 is a lot.
Okay, throw it. There you go.
$100 saved is $100 earned.
Okay. Oh, I've got 2. Credit. I'll do my credit. So credit is buying now and paying later.
I got the ad. Values and spending influences. Isn't that basically like you spend money on like what you value the most, what you need the most?
Absolutely. One more. Throw.
The mortgage is like the payment that you make on a house over time.
Absolutely. Wonderful. That's it. Okay, I think we're done. This is kind of cool. This is a game Actually, the Michigan Credit Union League put this together, and you can see that you can use it for little kids, you could use it for teens, you can use it for adults. You saw these guys kind of getting in there, so I think it's a really cool thing and a really nice way to review. And what it showed me most of all is you guys did get a lot out of this class. You may not seem like it, but you absolutely did. So for anyone that didn't get a payday or a cookie, or you get one of each, help yourself because you've earned it, okay?